Fatima. How are you?
I'm well, thanks. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Thanks for asking. So let's dive in. You look good. So
Thank
give
you.
me an update. How are things going on your end with progression?
Things are going really, really well, actually. I know the last time we met, I was stuck at home with my husband, just kind of caring for him since his accident. And we discussed home health. And so I reached out to them, and they've been coming out and providing his medical care for him, which has freed up so much of my time.
That's good. So how does that make you feel?
I feel like I might actually have a way out.
I love that.
I was able to go back to work full time. I'm a teacher. I love the fourth graders, and they, it's kind of a double-edged sword because it reminds me that I don't have children of my own. But the way they just love me just being kids, the way they make me feel working with them and helping them learn, it's been a lot.
Okay, good. I like that I know before we've talked about your feelings of hopelessness, and I like that you could look at that situation going back to school and say it's a double-edged sword, but still see the positive. Like, you acknowledge the negative, and maybe this kind of made you feel this way. But the positive is that you are loved, and you feel loved by kids, and kids are your passion, whether they're your birth kids or not. You still get to feel motherly in a way. So I really like that you saw the positive in that. So, let's jump into, since we did mention the hopelessness, let's jump into your goals.
Okay.
And I do think it's big that we continue to make that the focus of overcoming your hopelessness. I saw your face light up, so I think that you're on track with that. And you mentioned a lot of things that I think we can just loop into objectives.
Okay.
Your objectives are making sure that they're attainable, we can measure them. And
the objective, what is that with regard to the goal?
So it's kind of like an action step, a place or little. So you have a large goal, and then these are little goals to help us attain this larger scale.
Okay, that makes sense.
So if we break it down, let's probably try to do 3 today. So if we break it down, as far as you felt hopeless because you were kind of dealing with a lot of grief. So I would want to definitely look at, objective 1 is overcoming grief. And how do we pass that? So we're going to get some little goals to help us overcome grief. I know very large for you, it seemed like you wanted to become independent. And so gaining a sense of independence was very, very important to you. You feel like that was taken away from you a lot in your marriage. So I do want to work on that. What do you think about that goal or that objective?
Gaining independence is very important. I think if I, could get out of this house and maybe get my own place, that would really do a lot for my well-being. Because just being stuck in the house with him is just, it's suffocating.
Okay, so you said just stuck in the house with just him. And so I know at one point you were this very social butterfly, kind of, so to speak, from our previous meetings and sessions. So what about adding, an objective of reconnecting with your friends or some other women to help you feel your best self?
It's funny that you mentioned that because a friend of mine from college reached out last week, and we went to lunch, and we kind of got to talking, and she mentioned that she had recently had a miscarriage. And it just made me feel connected. It made me feel like I wasn't alone in my, challenges with motherhood. And she also mentioned that her and some of the other girls that we used to hang out with all the time, they do a girls' night, like every other Friday.
Okay.
And so I was thinking that might be something that I'd like to participate in.
Okay, so let's use that. Let's use that. Reconnecting with friends is an objective 3.
Okay.
And so you did mention reconnecting with this one friend kind of brought about maybe reconnecting with all your friends, which would be great. So let's look at how we can measure that. So how often do you feel like you can speak with this friend or maybe see this friend? I know you said you'd see all the friends if you do like the bi-weekly girls night. So we could add that as a measurable thing of I check in after your bi-weekly meetups with them. And just see how that went, because I definitely think even that kind of overall helps our general goal of overcoming hopelessness, because you now have, like you said, you felt like you could relate, because you guys did both have an experience, a miscarriage.
Yeah, I think that would help a lot, doing that every other week.
Okay. So let's write down every other week, Fridays. You now have that. Let's also now look at maybe overcoming grief with these friends. So it's kind of like your goals or your objectives go hand in hand. I know that I referred you to those support groups, for other people who also experience miscarriages, and then again another one for domestic violence experiences. And how has that been going?
That's great. I attend those groups on Tuesday and Thursday, and that's been really eye-opening for me. It makes me feel like I'm not alone.
Okay.
I've met a few women that kind of have similar stories to mine. The domestic violence being the cause of the miscarriage, because some of the women are in the group just because they, naturally can't have children, or there's some medical condition preventing them from having children. But there's some women in the group like me who have lost babies because of domestic violence. So that's really helped me not feel so alone, which I think is kind of contributing to my sense of hopelessness as well.
Okay. And so you meet with these girls, or you meet with the support groups on what days?
Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Okay. So we now have a Tuesday and Thursday that can be measured, a bi-weekly Friday. So all of these are great that we can, look at these and see how this is helping, how this is working.
One of the ladies in the group provided me with, there's a first-time homeowner buyer program that she was telling me about. And so I was thinking about maybe reaching out to them and using some of the money that I have saved to get a place. So that might be another objective.
So you're jumping ahead, but this is great, because I do want you to feel like you are developing this plan, because it is yours. And so I'm just here to kind of make sure it's uniform and we get this down on paper, but this is your plan. So I appreciate and love that you mentioned that, so that we can tie that in with your gaining sense of independence. So as far as the independence in this group, she's giving you the information, you want to move out. So then let's figure out how we can measure that. What month are you looking at, or like how soon do you think you'd want to move out?
I would love to get out as soon as possible, but I know that's not realistic. So I figure I could maybe reach out to she gave me the phone number.
Okay.
So I could reach out to them. What's today? Wednesday? I could maybe reach out to them tomorrow.
Okay.
And maybe start the application packet.
Okay. So then for that, let's make that your objective number three, gaining a sense of independence. So
Okay.
just in going over this, we now, your full goal would be overcoming hopelessness.
Okay.
And I definitely think you're on the right track. We have three objectives. So you're going to reconnect with friends, which was number one,
Mm-hmm.
and you've already started that.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna continue to overcome your grief. So overcoming grief is one. And then lastly, which you just segued into about gaining sense of independence. So the reconnecting with friends, I'm going to follow up with you bi-weekly. Since all of
Okay.
these things are kind of happening in between, I'll be able to catch your Tuesday and Thursday in your sessions of overcoming grief. I know also you were referred for um, counseling,
Mm-hmm.
and I know you were doing individual counseling,
Mm-hmm.
and you and your husband were doing marital. But how is, I mean, at this point, it still sounds like you want to leave, right?
Yeah, I definitely want to leave.
Okay. So then how is the counseling going? Because that is another goal or another step to overcoming the grief.
Mm-hmm.
And we can add that in.
I think the counseling is reinforcing my desire to leave.
Okay.
Because my husband, he's very close-minded. He is very unreceptive
Mm-hmm.
to the therapy. He plays a lot of poor me,
Mm-hmm.
and blames me for a lot of things. And in my individual sessions, I'm learning how to take my power back. I'm realizing that these things happen to me.
Mm-hmm.
I made the choice to stay, but they happened to me, and I didn't deserve them.
You're absolutely right.
And now that he has the home health aide set up, I kind of feel more comfortable leaving. Because before I felt bad about leaving him in that condition.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the counseling is really helping me to see a pathway out.
Okay. I think that it sounds like the counseling is helping with your objective of overcoming grief as well as your gaining sense of independence, because it's kind of reigniting your feelings to just want to stand on your own,
Yeah.
and you know you can. So it sounds like bi-weekly would be perfect to measure this, because I can catch you right after the Friday that you're meeting with the girls. So that's reconnecting with friends and that objective. And then we can measure your overcoming the grief by, I can follow up with the Tuesday and Thursday sessions that you're doing. So the independence one, I know I'm following up with counseling, and I can do that as well bi-weekly, but it sounds like your first call will be tomorrow. You have the number. And then you have a realistic of maybe next year moving out sometime early next year, springish maybe.
Yeah, 6 months to a year. Yeah.
Okay. And so let's have that as number one. Starting tomorrow, you would give them a call. I'll follow up with that on our next session, so I'll be able to get information about how the girls' weekend went.
Mm-hmm.
Your
Yeah,
most recent.
this coming Friday will be the first girls' night.
Okay. And so, as well as the gaining sense of independence, I know you were looking into some information about that I provided you about getting a divorce.
Mm-hmm.
So, where does that fall on your list of the sense of independence?
I think I want to make sure I get my place first.
Perfect.
So that, because I think that when I mention divorce, he gets more hostile. So I'd like to get my home set up and then proceed with reaching out to the divorce attorney that you recommended.
Okay. So I'm going to have the call as number one for that.
Okay.
And then I'm sure from the call you'll get some information, and we can get some additional dates of, how soon they think the process goes, how fast. You've already, so you said you were saving money. Did we work on getting a bank account?
Yeah, all that's set up.
Okay. So it sounds like we've got your three objectives, your overall goal. I'm definitely going to get this together in a more formation and get this to you.
Okay.
And then we'll continue to follow up, and I'll give you a call to set up our appointment for next week,
Okay.
and just check in to see how everything is going.
Okay, sounds good.
I really appreciate you for taking the steps on your path to overcoming hopelessness.
Thanks. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
That was